right, let's call to order the work session for the Cochise County Board of Supervisors. Today is Thursday, February 5th. We're meeting in the Supervisors Hearing Room on Melody Lane in Bisbee. The order of deletion of any item on this agenda is subject to modification at the meeting, and any item listed is open for discussion. Please note that some attachments may be updated after the agenda is published, meaning presentation materials displayed at the board may differ slightly from the attached versions. Members of the Board of Supervisors will attend in person via remote conferencing. Members of the public may also attend this meeting via Microsoft Teams and mobile app. Work sessions are a time for county staff to inform and discuss agenda items with the Board of Supervisors, and public comment will not be taken. We'll begin with roll call. District 1. Crosby is here. District 2. And District 3. Antonori is here. All supervisors are present and in person. Before we get going, I just want to thank you for filling in for me last week. Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair.
It was a privilege.
Sorry, I missed. Anything fun happen?
It was great. You really missed it.
Wondered what you were doing. Like imaginary stories. What you were
Sharks
doing.
and therapies and all.
No, the biggest thing was that.
It was cold. It was wet. I got a cold. Oh yeah.
No, the biggest thing was that grant for the border-related funds.
Oh, okay.
And we had people who wanted to do resolution regarding about ICE in Minneapolis and.
What do we have to do with
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis?
Exactly. Yeah, so I was just like, through all that training and stuff, they saved a young boy. Like I said, in Minneapolis, all those people have choices whether they go to the protest, bring a gun, not get involved, really nice. But an 8-year-old boy facing human trafficking has no choice.
Yeah.
And one guy said, "Well, I don't care about the kid." I said, "Well,
What? One guy actually said that?
yeah, I don't care about the kid. What matters is what happened in Minneapolis." And I'm back. I said, "Well, we don't have any more to talk about." Because if I can save one guy because of that grant,
Oh, that's always, yeah.
so that was the biggest thing.
Okay. Ah, damn, I wish I was there kind of missing. You said I could have had fun with that. Freedom is messy and scary. And if you want to live in a socialist world where you're wrapped in bubble wrap and the government tells you everything to do, then that's one way to live. I would rather take chances and, use individual responsibility. And if you do stupid things, sometimes stupid things happen to you. So, and I've done stupid things and bad things have happened to me when I do stupid things.
And,
It's the beauty of freedom.
And this came through Douglas. This all came through Douglas. So,
Oh,
there's,
they were your peeps?
well, it came through the freaking border.
Oh, you're talking about the incident.
The
Oh, yeah.
instant, the 8-year-old.
No.
So if these guys can get trained and if they can educate other counties and other sheriff departments on how to keep it going, because human trafficking just goes throughout, then, that's what my job is.
Gotcha.
Care what
Yeah.
Minneapolis is doing.
All right. Well, let's go to Ms. Gilman
Okay.
to kick this off. And I guess we got one, two.
Yeah, we have our usual meetings next week. However, I want to make sure the board and the public and everyone recognizes that next week we are having our regular meetings at 1:00 p.m.
Right.
instead of 10 a.m. So we've shifted the time primarily because of morning events related
To
to
the
the governor's visit.
Right.
So we are.
Can you come with us, Tom? Go see the gov?
Are you going to the VIP thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be there too. So we're all busy in the morning with the governor's visit, and other county elected officials are as well. So it just made sense to move it to 1:00 on that Tuesday, February 10th. So please, we'll be putting that out on, all our notices, trying to highlight that it's at 1 p.m. so the public, try to avoid as much confusion as we can for the public. We have our consent agenda for the library district. It's the usual minutes and demands and budget amendments. Flood control district, there is one action item on the flood control district for increasing the contingency budget on the Bella Vista detention basin construction contract. The previous contingency budget was around 200,000. Some additional
They ate into that?
change. Yeah, they've ate into that, so they're increasing it by $551,000 to a total of $827,000.
Hear about that.
And so we do have Joaquin Solis here and
Yeah.
Brad Simmons from engineering to
So what was the overall price of the project?
$5 million, over $5 million.
So we're already
Over budget.
13% overrun.
This is the contingency side of that budget. So there's the $5
That
million
was
project
kind of-
budget and then the contingency.
yeah, but then well, you had a 200K management reserve, as we call it,
Mhm.
which you burned through. And now you're looking for 500, and it's an exact number, which is something that I kind of sends my radar off. It's not like, hey, we just need another 500 K. We need 500, and would you say 12?
In some sense, yes.
Yeah. So that alerts me that there is a reason you're asking for that number, which tells me that you're probably going to overrun by that
That one
amount.
again.
Again, yeah.
So what originally was agreed upon was the bid plus 5%. So that was $5,794,797.75. So we're expecting the end cost to be $5,987,542.64. So that's a contingency about 8 to 9%.
Is it material inflation that caused that, or is it?
It was during construction, so there was material involved. So there was riprap, there was RCP.
But I mean, the
reinforced
material
concrete.
estimate for the original cost, inflation bumped the cost of material up that caused the overrun, or was it because of delays or?
Well, some of those change orders, so for example, the reinforced concrete pipe, when you lay down this roller compacted concrete, it's pretty much like a moisturized powder, and they have to vibrate it and compact it. When you put in culverts, usually they're anchored and then they're put in with a concrete that has a slump. So that way you have enough moisture, so that way the concrete gets around your pipes. You can't do that when you're putting powder, moisturized concrete in lifts. So then you have to leave a void to put those pipes in. And so then once you layer up high beyond that, then you just anchor the pipe so that way they don't float when the concrete is placed in there. So it was just bid as placing those pipes in there without taking into account that you can't do that. You have to have a void. You have to anchor it.
Was it bid that way? That they didn't know to do that, or did we design it that way where
Yeah,
they didn't bid it?
The design didn't have.
Okay, so that was our fault.
Have that
Okay.
opening.
All right. Just want to make sure it wasn't the.
And where is this district, or where is the service?
Development.
Yeah,
Bella Vista project that is west of Molson Road and just south of Charleston Road. Excuse
I
me.
think that's your
that's mine.
district, yeah.
And
Just outside yours.
it's right off of Dake Road, there's a cemetery right there, just off of Charleston Road.
All right. I got no further question. Anybody else?
No, sir.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Then we'll move into the jail district agenda. That, again, there's no action items, just the budget. Budget amendments.
What's going on with the construction
The project?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just generally speaking, we are moving along with geotechnical review and getting that vendor online to do the geotechnical and other environmental reviews. And then we are also putting together the scope with our,
Who's the pusher from here on?
we're both working on.
The both of you?
Yeah.
So can I get an update?
Yeah, we can do a work session on
a
the subject.
An update on where we are and stuff, because a lot of people are asking me, and, since we got that passed and everything, and now, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
now we need to stay on top of it.
Yeah, so.
We do have a blog that we've put out for the public to
Yes.
see an update, and then, and we'll be putting out the RFQ for the criteria architect.
And we're going to do, Jane's going to try to stave off some of the shock on July 1st. When certain.
Oh, yeah, for the tax
Yeah,
to go back.
when the tax kicks back in, so we don't have the issue with, the people not knowing
Right.
and all that other stuff. But
Yeah, so
But yeah, a work session would be, that's certainly
Okay.
reasonable.
great, thank you.
So the Board of Supervisors regular meeting again, 1:00 on Tuesday. We've changed the order of items on the agenda for summary of current events to be
Thank you.
brought up front while the crowd is here to hear.
One thing, so maybe, I also, when you're up the legislature,
Yeah.
before you start official business, you have points of personal privilege where members are allowed to get up and give 3 minutes of pontification or whatever, introduce guests in the gallery or talk about their mother or whatever.
Best friend.
But they get 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. And so what is the open meeting law implication of us giving each member of the board, if they want to, before we start an official board meeting, give them just 3 minutes to comment on anything they want?
Kind of what this current event is.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
understanding
that's
is
current
that,
events, but if I want to, for example, let's just say I was upset that tax dollars are wasted because a bunch of kids walked out of school and weren't taught or educated for an entire day, and nobody was held accountable, nobody was arrested for truancy, the school day wasn't extended for, the school year wasn't extended a day to offset for that lost day or whatever. What if I want to pontificate about that?
Do we have anything to do with
I can
approving the school district's budget?
No, I just want to pontificate.
Oh, that's fine.
I just
Do we
wanna-
have anything to do with the school district's budget? Approving the school district's budget, it comes before us. As part of, okay, tax rates. What did I say?
Yeah,
Their budget?
yeah.
Okay, well, tax rates are part of the budget anyway, so.
But I'm just saying,
I agree with you because I like to talk about the sanitation districts, and especially.
we want to talk about fire districts, pontificate about fire districts and the issues we're having with fire districts. Even though it's not on the agenda, could I just talk for 3 minutes about heartburns?
It's county business.
I'm tempted to want to research
Yeah,
that.
I'll look at something to have them come up and pontificate about all the stuff that they want us to do. Why can't we?
It has
Let me
It's
just,
not like they become a discussion.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm just bringing it to our esteemed deputy county attorney,
Two of them.
to set up the rules for that, so that we can add that to this section here, where we will allow points of personal privilege, so that Kathleen can talk about what she wants to talk about, Tom can talk about anything you want to talk about.
As long as it's not back and forth discussion amongst you, I think that.
Referee will give him a little yellow flag, and if he throws the flag, he says, blows the whistle.
Tear us down. They'll start throwing things at us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but just have him,
Yeah.
if you can, just throw some rules of engagement. What we can and can't do.
Mr. Antonori, it occurs to me that you're talking about rules, which is something that I've brought up in the past.
Yeah,
We should explore rules that we're going to operate in.
yeah,
We
we
still
should.
have that draft that the clerk had.
Another
So-
day.
Another day.
We'll add that, but good point, Tom. Yeah. Anyways, I like this idea to give us a chance to not just talk about what's going on in our district, but maybe add a couple other
Sure.
comments.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Because the school superintendent does have an event that she needs to be back in Sierra Vista by 2:00, for we are asking the board's approval to move that action item up
Yes.
before call to public and before consent. So we're shifting the order a little bit to get that county schools, those two items brought forward earlier in the agenda. And the county school superintendent, Dr. Jackie Clay, is here to talk about both her agenda items, one for the Education Services Agency school-based mental health grant. It's just approving the year 2, and the other software services agreement.
Dr. Clay, give us some enlightenment on your two agenda items here.
I have two amazing team members here who are going to lead that, but I just wanted to reiterate that our event is going to be with Governor Hobbs. She's going to be briefed by the Student Advisory Council.
Oh,
The
nice.
same presentation that you guys received.
That's cool.
She was willing to head and listen to it, and
Is it going to be at the school?
it's going to be at my office.
Okay.
And then she's going to be sitting with all the superintendents and have a perspective type of conversation. She's going to tell them her perspectives, and they are, with great respect, going to tell her their perspectives.
Okay.
And I think that's something that is needed. So the first one basically is approving year 2 of our grant. I'm going to turn that over to Miss Cynthia Myers.
This is the second year of our federal Department of Education school-based mental health grant funding. And we just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of where we are with the grant. There's a more in-detailed report inside the folder. I didn't figure we wanted to spend too much time going over it. Do you have the PowerPoint by chance for that?
If not, simple, that it's
You'll have lunch.
Okay.
You can go ahead and pull it out.
Well, this is the PowerPoint here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you need this? Give a quick read of that.
And this is Lorena Telesaw. She is the project coordinator for our school-based mental health grant and has done a fantastic job on really rebuilding this funding since we got it, because with the change in government, there were a lot of challenges to implementing the original grant as it was written. And she's put a lot of time and effort into rebuilding the logic model and everything for the grant. So
Lorena, that was a non-standard last name. Would you repeat it, please?
Yeah, Telesa. I'm married to a Samoan man, so
Okay.
that's right.
Telesa.
Telesa.
Okay.
Not Tesla, but.
No.
that's how we moved it.
No,
Thank you.
of course.
Tesla. All right.
Yeah, so then what we'll be over and on Tuesday will just be a quick grant report as well as needs assessment, which is definitely needed for evidence-based framework. And what we're using for that needs assessment is the SHAPE platform that's online, and you can see that also on your folder as well. But what that is, just so that schools are able to complete surveys, given that our whole county is a vast network and just a big group to try to get all the information for. So that's just what we're doing so that we're able to understand like who they have hired, do they have school counselors, are they part-time, are they full-time, because the overall purpose of the grant is to increase school mental health professionals to the rate of students so that there's not a lot of turnover in the workplace and that faculty are not getting overwhelmed and that students are actually being looked at and personalized. And then just some challenges that we've had. Thankfully, we've been able to hire a school counselor that's also in the audience today, Haley Jones, and she's amazing. She's super sweet, and she's back in Arizona where she belongs. And you'll also see just the different schools and districts that have already been registered for SHAPE. And that's, once again, that free online tool that we're using to get all that information, such as their mental health profile, their teaming, staffing, as well as maybe what services they do offer and what other services that they offer to community relations and all that other stuff. Then we also have assessment data, which is just showing what a couple of our schools have already filled out. And you can see where they've rated themselves from teaming to needs to screening assessments, treatments and fundings and all of that great information. And yeah, just a possible schedule that we have for our school counselors so that we're able to reach as many schools as we can, especially those that need services that we prioritize. And yeah, there's also just some more information in regards to the different tiers of services that we're able to offer. Also relating to our performance measures, which you'll see at the bottom there, that we're trying to increase that Tier 2 and Tier 3 support from 15 to 20%. And we'll be able to do that with contracted services, our school counselor, as well as a clinician to look over and supervise.
So what is the ratio, Dr. Clay, that you try to get with your counselors to students? What's that, Matt? Is it like,
The ratio basically,
you're trying to get it down under 500 to 1, but I mean, what is there like studies that show?
yes.
Originally in the grant, when you extract the 3 large districts in Cochise County, when you take out Douglas, Sierra Vista, and I think Wilcox, the ratio of school mental health providers, we're talking about counselors and therapists, is 840 something to 1 student.
When you say take out?
Yeah.
And what is the number that they recommend it be? Like, there's got to be, like, for example, effective policing, they'll tell you how many cops per 1,000 people you're supposed to have, how many firemen per 1,000 people. What is the magic number for?
Well, the magic number is really to have one mental health provider per school district.
Per school district?
Per school district, correct. And that's currently we're not even.
How many school districts do you have?
We have 24.
24, and you got 8 right now? How many providers you got? Was it 8 I read? I read.
We've got about 4 service providers, but the idea
Well,
of the grant is for,
you got
yeah,
12.
to be able to kind of build a consortium within the
But
county
you have
schools
half.
office. Yeah.
Of what you really need.
And a lot of the schools, they're shooting at the hip. They're going by what they think is right because when something happens, they don't have time to do or go and find, just like Wilcox or Sierra Vista or some of the others, our bigger schools. So when something happens, they're just going to do what they feel is right, what's their gut. And half the time, it's not right, but they don't have that trained person there. And what we're trying to do is ensure that we have somebody there so that if something happens, we could dispatch that person there. And with it, yes.
So what this would do, this data would then help you get a grant to provide salaries to bring those?
We already,
That's what this grant is. So
Okay.
the
We already
first year
have
of the grant was really doing an assessment and collecting the needs, and figuring out what the needs of these schools were. And one of the biggest challenges that we found is that the tier 3 support, which is really clinical,
if you can look at that.
accessibility for these
Look at
students,
tier 3, please.
was the largest need, and we weren't thinking that would be what it would be, but it is. And the schools have certain requirements to meet for these kids, and lots of times they actually have to go to Tucson to get
Yes.
services. And so they're missing half of their school day in order to travel to Tucson for a 1-hour appointment with a clinician, only to come back into the county. So
And
That's gotta be expensive.
it is
very, very expensive.
not the family, but the
The
schools.
schools got to
So
pay
if
that up.
little Johnny has appointment, okay, it takes an hour and a half to get there. They go on the appointment, then they have to get back by the time school is just about over.
Mr. Crosby, did you have a
Yes,
question?
either for Lorena or Kaylee, if you care to approach the microphone, if you have.
No, she's just,
Okay,
Today's her second day.
today is her second day. She has not even, no.
anybody.
She should know that the minute she walks through that door.
We're
Now you're an expert.
Does she have a tattoo yet?
Okay,
Okay, but anyway, here's the question.
You
What is the strategy for getting somebody unaddicted to fentanyl?
We have, can I,
Anybody, even Dr. Kleck.
thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
you bet.
All right. The strategy first is to,
not let it start to begin with.
we're talking about before the bang, right?
Right.
The strategy is to teach them. The strategy is to teach the families, to teach the students, to teach the teachers, to teach the community. And that's what we do. We not only teach the educators and the families, we have venues where
Prevention is the primary.
Yes, thank you.
prevention and education.
But
is
what
the
if,
primary.
as Mr. Crosby, yeah, what if, as Mr. Crosby alludes, prevention fails and you do have someone that develops a hankering for,
Hankering.
It could even be an
Fentanyl.
employee,
Yeah.
not necessarily the student.
Well, I think part of that is really having, the mental and behavioral health professionals in place
And that's
to
what we're trying to do.
obviously direct somebody to some type of rehabilitation program that's going to work for them. Most of the research shows with these younger kids, especially in elementary and middle school, if you get them early while these behavioral issues are developing, they're less likely to turn to addiction of alcohol and drugs if we can intervene in that prevention phase. And that's really our goal.
Prevention, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about somebody who is addicted. Okay, but anyway, so here's another question.
Wait, can I answer that one?
Sure.
We're into prevention and education. But if there is a problem and we identify it, then we have partnerships with all these other organizations. And not only that, we also have, we're trying to put counselors in so that we can identify and then say, okay, this is where you belong. This is where you need to go. That's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to first prevent, educate, and then identify. Once we identify, then
you
we
direct
go.
them to whatever care,
Absolutely.
line of care.
Yes. So we right now have been working on partnerships and relationships throughout this county and outside of this county. And we do have relationships with all these organizations. We have our emergency response team meeting where you guys, where we introduced that to all of you. So it's all about relationships and all of us understanding that we are interdependent, not separate and siloed. So what this office does is try to be the glue to all of these silos because we have a lot of great programs in Cochise County and in Arizona, but they're all siloed. So we had to concentrate education, prevention, and then validating all of these silos and saying, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do this together. And that's what we've been working on. So after we identify, then we make sure they go to the right place.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the question still remains, what do you do with somebody that is addicted to fentanyl? And so this item number 2 is going to have what? Almost nothing to do with somebody that is addicted to fentanyl besides pass them to somebody outside the county. Is that correct?
Inside the county.
But
We try-
outside the school system.
Yes, of course, because
Yeah, but-
that's not what
Yeah,
we do.
yeah, you're going to refer them to some either.
Yes.
So continuing, so what I would be looking for is a measure of effectiveness for that issue. Somebody is addicted. What is a measure of effectiveness for, or the possibility of them becoming not addicted for no matter what it is, no matter who intervenes? That's what we're looking for.
But in this case, the measure of effectiveness is, all right, what is the current
We
number
do
of?
it.
Okay, but are we moving on to agenda item
Yeah,
number
we're
2? Because
blending
these are
two
two
different-
separate,
Oh, okay,
two
all right.
separate things.
All right, what I'm getting at is if you want to evaluate a program, the program is, as the superintendent said, is education, prevention. So the metric would be, right now you have X number of kids in the school district every year that have fentanyl exposure. After this program's in place for 2 years, that number should start to drop.
Through
And
education.
that's the measure of effectiveness.
How are we going to see that, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know. That's a good question to ask. Someone has to be tracking that. I mean,
We are, and
Right.
and basically what we've put in place, which is the platform we put in place, is going to help us measure the effectiveness. So we come back
Is
again.
it really that high right now?
It's bad,
Is it really?
especially in the rural and on the border. It's bad. And the thing is, kids know how to hide that, and they're not going to tell on each
I
other.
believe that.
It is.
Right, and yeah,
It's-
and
It's cheap. I know.
It's cheap and it's plentiful. I have a question. So going back to this program, I'm going to use my son who was 12 years old, and he was younger than a lot of people going freshmen, and he was somewhat shy and whatever. So this program would stop the teacher who would say, oh, he must be on drugs, right? And so then it becomes the stigma, oh, this is a kid on drugs, because where if you had a counselor who could say, no, he's not on drugs, you're just not answering his questions, or he doesn't feel connected to the teacher, or he's, whatever social issue he's going through. Because,
Well, that's what you alluded to earlier, where they may not necessarily.
and that's what I think is really important,
Yeah.
because a lot of teachers, and I'm going to say it in Douglas, don't have the training to make these kind of assessments, or even in Tucson.
Absolutely.
And they kind of stigmatize this kid, and he's always having to try to prove that he's not on drugs, when if somebody who really understood
Yes, ma'am.
the process would be able to say, look, they send the kid to the counselor and they say, look, this kid isn't, he's bored, you're not challenging him enough or whatever. So that's what this kind of program would do. right?
Yes, and we don't have anything like this.
Okay.
So that's why we talk about education, right? Prevention, and the big thing is identify.
And having the right people identify.
Yes. And when identify, this is when it's out of our hands. But we're going to make sure they get to where they need to go. Whereas before, they would be under the radar the whole time.
And to make sure that the ones
Do we-
that
do we
really
drug
are
test?
doing that way.
Do we drug test?
Kids,
yeah.
no, sir.
I was in high school. They used to drug test. No, I was in high school.
Well, parents, I know that when I was a principal, the
Yeah,
parents
yeah.
would do it. They had those kits. You can go to CVS and get the kits
Yeah.
and do but as far as the school is concerned, no, sir.
And I think too,
Try
going back to
to-
both talking about the fentanyl stuff, which we'll talk about in the second part in this particular grant, and some of the things that we're working on, is a lot of the new research that's coming out is that even though we're training teachers and we're training staff, we're actually neglecting to hear the voice of the kids. And we are making assumptions about their experiences that are not actually sometimes the reality of what they're experiencing. So some of these new techniques, like pulling in the school counselors, allowing the kids to have somebody to speak to, have a voice, the other grant funding that we have that's going to do the anonymous tip reporting tool. That's where we hope to get a lot of data about what's going on with these kids, because using that anonymous tip reporting tool, they have the ability to actually reach out to somebody in a crisis center and be anonymously reporting.
That's part of this?
That's part of a different grant we have,
Yes.
but they all kind of come together under the behavioral health piece. So
Are we on
they're intentionally
two buttons?
No,
aligned
no,
together. Yeah.
on one. But that's another project we have, and that's identify. Remember, we're concentrating on identifying. And when we're talking about the anonymous tip line, we had talked to you about that a while back. And that is basically just about in play right now.
All right. So agenda item number 2.
You want to do, did we finish one? Yeah.
Yeah, so two is the actual physical measurements of reducing, because it says a reduction pilot effective upon execution of all parties. So you're doing a pilot to see if this system will actually reduce the incidence of fentanyl exposure. That's number 2.
Yes.
What does pilot mean?
This particular funding, we're not actually bringing money into the county. The NFL Alumni Association awarded money to the Mayo Clinic to do a pilot program on a technology application for educating students in 8th through 12th grade about fentanyl. And they chose Cochise County as their pilot county. And so we will be working with, I think we add Berean Academy. So we've got 8 high school districts or 8 middle high school districts that cover that 8th grade through 12th grade. We'll be utilizing this technology developed by the Mayo Clinic based on their research with fentanyl and experience with people coming in with addiction. Where the kids will utilize an app and they'll go through and answer different questions on the app, and based on the questions that they answer, which is what makes it unique, and their responses to the questions, the education will go down a certain rabbit hole depending on the way the student actually answers the question. So it's kind of AI generated and self-directed for each of the students that will be answering questions in the app, trying to get to learn more information about fentanyl addiction, and through that we will be able to collect a lot of data on what the kids are experiencing and the types of questions that they're asking and how they're answering those questions.
Douglas going to be part of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I hope so.
We always have the answer for you. But, and I'd also like to say that the app isn't just questions. What's so cool about it, and if you'd like to get an example of it, you'll have maybe a famous football player saying, my son died from fentanyl, and this is what happened. And he's telling the story. So in this app, students are experiencing other people's experiences and they're answering questions. So here we go with the educate again. And what's so great about this is that we're getting with the teachers that teach health, right? Because that's a normal fit. Because what we don't want to do is give teachers more work, right? So we tried to figure out what classes in middle school and high school where it's transparent, where it's just augmenting what they're already teaching. So this is how we're going to get it into the schools, not saying teachers do this. We're going to say health teachers, this is aligned with your standard already. And this makes it easier because students, they like this.
Yeah.
This is what they do. This is what they understand.
I got you.
All right. So what's great about this is that we were selected. So we are actually helping.
So the NFL.
The NFL
Yes.
Foundation. It's the NFL, the National Football League, the NFL.
Yeah, decided to
Alumni
pick on
Association.
Little Cochise County to
Well,
be the pilot program.
yeah, the Mayo Clinic actually made the decision that they wanted to pilot with
Mayo
Cochise County.
Clinic.
The Mayo
It's-
Clinic.
Oh, the Mayo Clinic decided. The NFL did. So I retract that. So the Mayo Clinic decided on
Because
Cochise
we
County.
do already. I believe that they chose us because they already know the things that we do. Cochise County, we're risk takers and spearheaders. If it's good for the student or the community and it sounds good, we're going to try it. And we already have a reputation for that. So it was easy for them to say, hey, would you partner with us? And we've been working with the Mayo Clinic for the last, 6 or 7 months?
Yep.
trying to get a good curriculum. So they're listening to us and we're going back and forth talking about how.
Do you have something else?
Sure. Everybody in this room, raise your hand if you have had any dealings with an addict or addicts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So what I was going to bring up first is one definition of a pilot program is there is no previous record of effectiveness. Unfortunately, that's true. Oh, so I am actually pessimistic about people's prospects for recovery from fentanyl, and throwing money is not the answer. So without an
How would you solve it?
well, intervention, and I would in my opinion, the only hope is the indwelling presence of the Holy Spirit of God. That's what I think.
Well, I can understand
Well,
the thinking, but quite frankly, kids, this sounds like a whole new approach that they can be relatable to. Kids are on, now, would this be something that was after the schools because they can't use their cell phones, or is it like part of a iPad that's in the health department?
The
Or the health
teachers,
class?
what we're telling them is we want, it can be on the cell phone, which means the parents can see it too.
Right.
The parents are a part of it. If there's a school that there's no cell phones, then it will be the teacher who has it on her iPad who's putting it on the screen. But
Is there going to be like, again, I keep going back, this is a long time ago, I guess, when I was in high school, and, driver's ed, they had the video with the highway of death, and they used to show you all these mangled bodies crunched up in cars and stuff. Do we do that anymore? Or are we worried our kids are so sensitive and so fragile? Why can't we take kids on a tour of the morgue and say, hey, let's open some drawers. Hey, this guy died from fentanyl. This is what happens when you take fentanyl. You end up here. You end up as a purple body on a ice cold slab. Here's another picture, of somebody that does fentanyl who stuck a gun in their mouth and blew their brains out. Here's another guy. Show them that stuff.
I think that's happening in some of the
When I
classrooms.
drive around with my kids,
Yeah.
and I used to tell them, the effective way to get them to do good in school, I used to point out people in a shopping cart on the side of the road, see if you don't do your homework, that's where you'll be. You will be that guy right there. So knock off the crap, do your freaking homework.
Different kind of.
That works. That works.
I believe there's some teachers who are
Surely
doing
it
that.
must be my turn to speak.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The answer, Mr. Chair, is because addicts are irrational. They are irrational.
That doesn't work on them?
No, because if you tell an addict, a fentanyl addict, that Joe Blow over there, your buddy, he just died on brand X fentanyl. You know what they want?
Well, I'm on brand Y.
They want brand X fentanyl. That must be the good stuff if Joe, my buddy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
You got to understand, addicts they've got a whole different plan.
But you're also talking about children.
Right, and then yes.
Different.
They're not
Yeah, and I think,
But it's
right.
a different thing. And the other thing too is that it's a cultural thing that when it is something that your parents are doing, or it's the ones that you look up to are involved in the business. It's a whole different aspect because they think it's okay. Well, my father did this and got it, or my uncle's involved, or whatever. It's a whole different thing, and it's a whole different culture. And growing up with not fentanyl, but when weed was the thing, and then it was coke, and then it was ecstasy along the border, and since we're coming through, it's very tangled and complex. When my dad is a dentist and he's getting money from the cartel, and I say, why are you accepting that money while I'm providing the service? So how do these kids not know that this is a bad thing when it becomes a cultural aspect of wealth and surviving? It's a lot of different cultures than just going and getting a drug.
I'd like to move along. We're gonna run out of time here.
But very quickly to a drug addiction is very different now. They are marketing drugs to children that look like candy. They don't want to be an addict. They don't want to take drugs. And the problem is that one dose will addict that kid for eternity. So if you're getting you're getting something that looks like a Smartie and your friend gives it to you and you don't ask questions and you take it and it has fentanyl in it, it could kill you, or you're going to become an addict. And it's very different because sometimes they don't know that they're actually, taking drugs or being introduced to fentanyl. And that's a big part of this program, is really educating them about where they can encounter.
These programs for you to use.
Yeah.
And if we don't do anything, we're not doing well with doing nothing.
rock and roll. We got 12 other agenda items here we got to go through. So thank you guys. And if we have any more, we'll bring it up in the regular board meeting. We can have additional discussion. And
Thank you, guys.
we would do the call to the public next, but what we're doing, so everybody's aware, is because Dr. Clay's got to get out. We're going to do this before we do call to the public in the regular meeting. So after this,
Yeah.
then we will do call to public, and we will let but we're not doing call to public here. I want to make it, yeah. But I'm just saying, the agenda items are going to be juggled a little bit, so people know this is the point where we're going to do that. Then we go to the consent agenda.
Then we go to the consent, which is,
So we're a little out of order just to accommodate our esteemed
We can do that.
superintendent, so she can go do other good things. All right.
so going to the action items, the first action item is actually, I have an edit to it to approve 30,000 for fund transfer from general fund contingency rather than the 20,000.
How are we looking on our expenditure limit?
We will know, well, we never know. Loaded question.
So
We will get we are hoping to get our annual expenditure limit report for 2025 fiscal year, last fiscal year, sometime in March. We're hoping to get that, and we'll know if we went over.
I mean, we don't have somebody tracking as we're
We
running
do,
up to
but
the
it's
limit.
always subject to interpretation by the auditors after the fact.
I have
So
a comment. Go ahead. As I've pointed out many times, the budget is the dream. The certified financial report is the reality, and that comes out at 6 months after the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, I got it. But during the fiscal year, as we're spending money,
right, we do.
we should be tracking to make sure
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not blowing the expenditure limit so that we don't get bit in the rear end 6 months later and have to then put money back in.
Yeah.
And this is just for one,
So to go back to this agenda item, this is for the chief civil deputy county attorney position that is currently vacant. The county attorney needs additional funds in order to raise that salary to a more competitive market recruitment.
Like when we were up at the legislature, I talked to that one guy and he's like, I'd love to come back to Cochise County, but I want $200K to come back. And there's just no way we can get $200K to get that kind of guy, right? So it's,
And this isn't pushing it to 200K.
this ain't pushing it to 200K, but it's bumping it up a little bit more, so it could at least widen the aperture a little bit on potential attorneys that we might get. Zuko, to her credit, she's trying to find somebody. The problem is they all tell her no. I mean,
she thinks 20,000 can make it that big of a.
It's actually going to be 30,000 additional, which would
Yeah.
put the range between
The question-
170 and
the
180.
question we have to ask is if we get a good civil deputy, help her through this additional funding, can she hire somebody that will then save us money so we don't have to go outside and hire
people.
And reduce our
$450 an hour or $600 an hour attorneys? If we have a relatively experienced civil deputy, no offense to our good,
No offense taken.
guy here, but I'm saying, you're trying to find somebody that has a lot of good litigation experience so that we could, maybe use them to go do these lawsuits rather than having to go hire outside counsel to do it. So that's kind of, to find that level of experience, you're going to have to pay. That's the problem. She's been shopping around, and I guess she gets a bite, and then when she tells them what the salary is, it's like, that's what she's running
What is it
into.
right now, 150?
54, 154.
155.
Yeah, 155, 154.
Yeah, I can get it back.
So, and also what you paid for.
What's the name of our main defense lawyer? His name is escaping me.
I don't know if we have a main defense lawyer.
talking
We
about
have our
Murray?
own.
We use many different
No.
law firms for all different
That's-
purposes.
Every part of defense that's,
Oh, the public defender?
yes.
Oh, Charles Kendall. That's right.
Kendall, that's the name I was looking
Sorry.
for. Is Mr. Kendall interested in becoming chief civil?
Oh, I have not spoken to him about that. He's on the criminal side, so it's a different type of law.
Yeah.
But the position would be posted, and he could certainly apply if he was interested.
But that's what I would look for. He's already here. He already
He
knows.
does a great job for us in defense, and we need them there too.
I know, I agree.
But that's what, to your point earlier, you've made several times. That's the key critical component that everybody
I
gets there.
understand. I'm not saying
Yeah.
fall down on defense at all. I'm saying Mr. Kendall is here, and I would knock on his door.
If we could find like one of Mick Rusing's associates that wants to come over here and be a civil
Would they like-
deputy,
Bisbee and have a girlfriend maybe.
or you know what I mean? Somebody with a lot of you know
We have like something or other law day coming up the 12th, rule of law day
Yeah.
on the 12th. So
But I mean, that's the problem
That's the
is
source of this agenda item.
now the risk there is a risk to this too, by the way, that once you bump this,
Yeah, it's never coming down.
yeah, well, no.
all the other
Other lawyers are going to go, well, you know, I'm not saying you're going to do that, but that's
You
the
have a
other.
very low cost of living.
That's the other thing. Once you start, you know,
scenic
Yeah.
system.
it doesn't sell anymore. I hate to tell you. When I was talking to lawyers up in Phoenix saying, hey, we're looking for a deputy county attorney to do civil stuff, they're like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, I'd love to do Cochise County. What's it going to pay? I said, 154. And they're like, what? 154? You know, that's the problem. You know, everybody, the reason that lawyers are so expensive in Maricopa and Pima County is because, you know, those guys got money to
It is.
throw.
It is a statewide concern. When we were at CSA, we heard the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court talk about the market for
Lawyers no longer want to be part of the change of the community to make it better, in my opinion.
Well,
They want a house. They want kids. They want to pay for their kids' college. They would, you know.
Yeah.
I got that way after I left the Army. I started looking at money differently once, because I had when I was in the Army, I was kicking doors and killing bad guys, you know, doing all that stuff. And I was getting paid crap, right, for that, doing what would be very risky
Dangerous.
and dangerous lifestyle for peanuts, per se. Then when I retired and I saw what everybody else was doing and how they were getting nice houses and demanding these salaries and demanding this, I was like, well, hey, wait a minute now. Now that, you know, my idealism is taken care of and I don't have that. Now it's about what can I do with best for my family, you know, set my kids up, you know, build my 401k. And that's the problem. And lawyers, unfortunately, are very educated.
Lori Zuko, I believe, is on Teams.
Ms. Zuko is on Teams
We
to
hear from her.
discuss this issue.
She's on there. Oh, so I'm making the case for her. But I mean, that's, you know, that we're dealing with an educated section of the population that knows the market, knows what their colleagues are making. They go golfing with them or go to cocktail parties. It's a very tight community. And so they all know. So you can't get anything past them. That's the problem.
Oh, sorry, but anyway.
Okay.
I don't know if Ms. Zuko wanted to add anything. Ms. Zuko,
She's on mute.
she's on mute?
I'm just kidding.
I guess not.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're good. We're good with that.
Okay.
Oh, here. Hi. I
There's-
figured
oh,
out
there
how
it
to
is. There's you.
unmute myself. Hello?
Yes.
I figured out how to unmute myself, but Frank, you were making such a good case for me that I feel like you had it covered. I'll be there to present it myself on Tuesday.
I have been, since I've been here, I think no one will doubt, I have been advocating to deepening the gene pool of lawyers in Cochise County as much as I can. And that is something we have to do here.
I do
And-
understand when you have lawyers that are not able to even be up to like a certain level of
Yeah.
competency.
We
Stuff with that, so.
you know, in the cases that we've been dealing with, you know, our guys have been trying to do the best they can, but I mean, we really need to bring in and raise that experience factor in this county. We really do. So
Okay.
helping Lori find somebody that can help us bump that up a little bit, I think it's worth the $30K. Just my 2 cents, but we'll talk about it
On Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
The items number 7 and 8 are related to IGAs for City of Benson and City of Douglas for their elections in May. Our elections director, Melissa Avant, is here. These are 13 agreements for our services.
Here, I asked you the question once before
Yes.
about the cost for that special election.
Yes.
Have you been able to tighten it up and get a better
Yes.
number?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair Antonari. Thank you, board members. So the two in front of you are very similar in scope. It's the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Benson and the City of Douglas. It's very similar to our CD7 election. There'll be 3 vote centers that are open. From my side, from the election side, it'll be about 50,000, give or take, depending on that, and then the recorder's office will have their own expenses as well,
We're going to be
which are
doing another election for them in November for the same exact city council seat.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to burn 50 grand. The city of Benson's going to pay for it.
Correct.
But we're going to burn 50 grand to do the same thing again 6 months from now. I just want to make sure people
And I
are
must
aware
say
of it.
that Douglas.
Don't
was
collect-
smart
we
because
do.
they have 6 seats coming up. And they wanted to do, some people wanted to do a recall on all of the ones, and I'm like, why? It's just what is it, like 6 months later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lunacy here. Of,
So I do have a clarification. So the city of Benson and the city of Douglas will not, we won't even get to the $50,000+. The IGA is it's like 75 cents per registered voter. For the city of Douglas, there's approximately 8,490 registered voters, so about 6,400, give or take, the city of Douglas will pay. And then the city of Benson only has about 3,835 registered voters, so they're less than $3,000.
So who's going to pay the difference then?
Correct. The county,
Who's paying the difference then?
the county.
Are you kidding me? Now I'm more PO'd than I am before.
Well, and so there is a possibility or opportunity. We are one of the lowest nationally at 0.75% or 75 cents per registered voter. Nationally, it's anywhere from 75 cents to $2.80 per registered voter. The intergovernmental agreement has not been raised, I believe, for quite some time,
That's
Dylan.
correct. My understanding that it's been a few years since the county has raised the rates that we charge.
It's been a while. So
With regard to these city council races that we said we're going to duplicate the primary with
This is a recall election that they called, they did a recall. So the recall now is scheduled for May, and the same seats, this is only to elect them for they're all up for re-election in
mhm.
Yes.
However, you can also have write-ins
Yes, correct.
that are currently not known or
Yes.
made. So
Not for recalls.
Yes, for recalls there,
do
well,
write-ins?
not write-ins, excuse me, not write-ins, I clarify. There will be additional individuals that step forward that provide
They
their
can get
petitions
signatures.
to the city of
Correct.
Benson, and those names will be on the ballot if they meet all requirements statutorily.
I was just trying to point out, it can't be a duplication. I mean, it could be, but it isn't.
Yeah, it's not duplication, it's redundant. That's,
It'll be different.
It is,
Different from the other.
it is going to be
Almost.
different, but what I'm saying is just the mechanics of the seats that are being challenged now, those same seats are going to be once again re-voted on in November.
It depends
It would
on
be different. It would-
what city council, I'm sorry, Chairman Antonari, I don't know if exactly four. We'll have to check with the city of Benson on that because their terms stagger. And
Yeah,
so it
one of them
depends.
I
It may
think is
not
for
just be
2
four,
years,
it
and then
may
the
be,
other 3 is
yeah.
for 4 years. But they're still,
Then you're going to have 3 that are there just because it's their turn. Besides, and so this is why it's really good. Have fun. You guys are trying to figure all this stuff out.
well, it's not up to her, actually. It ends up being, she just counts votes. It's the clerk of the city of Benson.
I am not so our county elections office is not the filing officer for cities. We only do counties, and so it's up for the city clerks to provide me with the information that goes on that ballot.
That's, so the
Okay,
city
I was
clerk.
going to further point out something like, what Sierra Vista did was they said, nobody can be elected in the primary. And that was within recent memories. Cale Chiavo pushed that through the city council where nobody can be elected in the primary. Prior to that, people were elected in the
If they got
primary.
50% or
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
And then the way they figured out 50%, if you were, for instance, let's say you got 6,000 people and whoever, that means 6 people running for 3 seats, whoever gets
Divided by 3.
1,001 votes gets a seat. Okay? So, and 1,001 isn't anywhere near 50%.
The recall doesn't have a primary. It's just a straight up and down election. And then the primary system kicks back in with the normal dates for the 2026 election.
Well, I don't know. They don't have wards in Benson.
Correct. And so they will go straight to
they're
the
all-
general. Some cities go straight to the general, like
Yeah.
Tombstone, Wilcox,
that's-
Bisbee have wards, and it depends on their city ordinance or charter. But some cities do go straight to the general, like Sierra Vista.
They were going to have this charter and an election in May. Isn't that?
Benson is not a charter city. Sierra Vista is not a charter.
Charter city, so they'll go to the general election.
Okay, so Douglas, because their charter would have their elections in May, that's the only reason why I get out of charter. Okay.
Well, so the consolidated election, the city of Douglas has a charter amendment, but then their primary and their general election will be for their ward city councilman.
I have a question for you. What if hypothetically, what if the board were not to approve this IGA, the city of Benson? What would happen?
Then we would not be able to run their election.
They have to find somebody else.
We would not run.
We would not run the election.
We're not obligated to.
I would not.
And
I
for
would not
instance,
recommend.
if they said, we're not going, this is going to be an all mail-in ballot, I said, well, we're not going to do an IGA with it. That would be, I'm not trying to.
No, there's going to be 3 voting centers, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
2 in Benson and 1 in Douglas.
But yeah, if you did not approve this IGA, the consequence would be that the city of Benson would have to either run their own election or seek other charity to provide it.
Can I just, for the cities and for the jurisdictions, this IGA, they did not do. And so these are the rules that the IGA had created for believe 5 years. So maybe possibility in the future that you can discuss the IGA expenses and go from there
From a fee standpoint.
for the fee standpoint.
We would, if you wanted to increase the fees, we would have to do that
Later.
on a later date, not on this.
But I'm talking about just if we said, you know what, run your own recall. We're not going to have anything to do with it.
Can we do that? Though?
Yeah, we can do that. What, we'd have to deal
We don't have to enter.
we'd have to deal with the repercussions too. You know, I mean, I'm not saying we don't do Douglas. You guys, I'm talking about Benson. I'm talking about Benson. I'm talking about maybe we, I don't know, because I don't like the way this went down. But
Arizona law contemplates that counties will operate elections through intergovernmental agreements, and there's not much law on what happens if the county doesn't want to run the election, particularly for smaller cities in rural Arizona. It might be a significant operational hardship and challenge for any city in this county to try to run their own election because they don't have any of the infrastructure to do it themselves.
So you're saying we might run into you have to do it, even though it is an option, you have to do it.
vote.
Where have you heard that before?
Yeah.
That's a weird.
Especially if it's rural poor areas.
Yeah, but
But it's ministerial. It's you have to do it.
It's statewide. If it's local, it's not. So you got, with my situation, you have a double standard of unequal protection. If a statewide election, they're claiming it has to be ministerial, and if it's not a statewide election, then I guess it isn't ministerial. So there's 2 levels of check and balance that the people are subjected to.
I will have to.
The county attorney perhaps do some research.
I will have to explore this more, and I'd like more information on what the likelihood would be if I were to.
This voting stuff is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Especially this county.
If I were to
Everywhere.
if we were to vote down, what would we expect to happen? Would we be sued by the city? Would the Secretary of State come down here? Would the Attorney General come down? What do you think?
I would definitely need, this is a bit of a complex issue. I need a little more time to look at everything, and it might be a little bit challenging given our staffing situation to get
The
it.
deadline is fine. We have a certain date we have to approve this by before it screws you up.
Yes, preferably sooner the better. We do have our ballot programming. We have ESNS. We have a.
If I bumped it a week, that would be a significant problem.
You'd have to have a special meeting. And you'd have to
I
count
can
on-
see, I can see.
A week is not going to break it, but more than a week.
Body language says a lot. So.
It'll be March. It'll be March, and then our LNA will be in April.
So they could.
You
They
know,
could push it
again,
back.
charter cities
I went
they have the equipment, they
for-
have the staffing and infrastructure to run their own election.
It's not a charter.
Exactly. The challenge is that most cities in Arizona do not have the infrastructure to run their own election. They have
They
the
don't have the
contract with the
equipment.
county to do it. And so Arizona, that's why the legislature presumes that the county is going to provide them the equipment to run their election.
I definitely understand your concerns, and I do think a conversation in the future is warranted on the IGA fees.
But not this.
It's not the fee.
It's just doing.
It's just doing it.
It's just doing it that is my heartburn, you know? And this will be in the Sarasota Herald tomorrow because of the controversy that's going on in that town over this stuff. I'm sure I will have a lot of friends on Facebook also saying stuff about it because, again, I think it's a complete waste of tax dollars. And
It might be, but they're.
if they want to vote these guys out of office, they can do it in November, 6 months from now. You know, that's the thing. But anyways,
If they're not doing.
The legislature has set consolidated dates, and we have to publish a call to the election, and we have to give every municipality and special district in this county the ability to request to call for an election for any reason at one of the dates that the legislature has set in statute. So
And the
we can't-
210 days has already passed. We already have the call to election. These two cities brought forth their 180-day statutory requirement.
You'd have to come up with, in my opinion, you'd have to come up with something that at least bordered on.
the rationale why.
Well,
yeah, I got you. I got you. All right.
Not just.
Ambiguous.
This is a problem. Okay, so I would point out, counties predate the legislature. We were here when they were territories.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Savant. I just love her. I love your body. I could see I could see the way, you know. Yeah. Well,
Final agenda item.
just think how bored your job would be. Yeah, we're just trying to add some excitement. Okay, so Daryl's up, I guess. I can
Yes.
see him making his way to the.
So this is for the
I don't want to.
reconstruction.
In the lunch yet? No, we're still
Nope,
good.
nope.
We got a little time.
Look at the time.
Foothills parking lot. Yeah, needs reconstruction, so this is an approval for that contract.
You bet.
The new guy's been over to the Foothills parking lot.
We're gonna pull out all the existing asphalt and concrete and redesign it because
So
it was,
you're gonna mulch it up? Is that what you bring in one of those?
you know, we haven't, no, I don't think so. It's just haul it away.
Just gonna break it up and
Take it down. What's that? I guess there's a possibility. If we spent more money and had it ground up, then yeah, you could.
Oh, okay. So this is just a
this is just-
bobcat with a
Yep, just
thing,
come in,
break up,
rip it
scoop
out.
up and
Yep.
throw it in a dump truck.
Yep, exactly.
No,
That,
it's
we
gonna be
didn't,
big chunks.
we didn't describe that in the scope.
Yeah, it's big chunks. He's
So-
just gonna, I mean, it's good for clean fill.
I was thinking of after that county road thing.
Oh, I got you. No, I understand.
But
We'll take a look, and if it's reusable, cost effective,
Clean fill,
we'll do so.
to fill in a hole somewhere, maybe a sinkhole, dump it in a sinkhole,
Those days.
something like that.
What is it?
I got you.
And then we have a redesign.
Yeah, so then it's redesigned. Again, that parking lot was originally there when the sheriff's department and the county jail was there at that complex.
I liked it better when it had an entrance and an exit.
Right,
Again,
but part of the reason
was
that,
this in the budget?
no, this is contingency.
So this is contingency. Again, it comes into the question where we are.
capital contingency, not general fund.
Oh, it's not general fund. Okay, so it doesn't hit our expenditure limit.
We'd have to look at that, but last conversation, we still have room on the expenditure limit, you know, but still, it's still quite squishy on the numbers we're getting.
Yeah,
But-
that's it.
It's a squishy. We're working to try to confirm that. But yeah,
I mean, we don't do, you know, the 3-column spreadsheet. We don't do that. Gazintas, goes outas, and totals, and
not that simple.
it's not that simple. Okay.
That's right.
I wish it was.
But, yeah, we've had lots of conversations on this over the last month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, all right. You know, every quarter I would go to staff meetings and I would sit up there and my boss would sit there with his, you know, coffee and I'd have to put my slides up and show my gazintas and gozadas and where I'm at, you know, track it down to the penny every quarter. And then we would roll that up to do our quarterly financial report that we would send up to the SEC. You know, we'd have to certify, the CFO would certify that and send it in. And we don't do that.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's a corporate versus government, I get it, but I mean, if,
Yeah, that's a different question than this agenda item. I would need to get deeper into that. That's
I'm
a longer
just-
conversation.
Kathleen, I think you and I, because of this, most of this stuff that we're dealing with also involves our rural districts. So
Yeah.
fortunately, Tom's dealing with a lot of the city. So when we start spending this extra money on these projects, even though this is in the city, this is actually in the city, but there's other stuff that's going on. We're adding money. I'm just worried. I'm really worried we're going to come up to that where when we need to spend money on something,
We can.
somebody's going to say we're like 18K away from blowing through the expenditure limit. We can't afford a 400K. That's my concern.
Concern, and we do have budget meetings coming up, the
Right.
budget kickoff meeting with the
But
board.
that's for the next fiscal year.
Right, but I review the current fiscal year and I can
Okay.
make sure to
So
include some
like
of
the
that
contingency fund right now, where are we at? What's the amount? Again, sorry, I don't know.
10 million,
No.
9 million.
You're asking questions off the top of my head. I'm not ready.
We're like eating into it.
I can get through that.
Approximation?
I'm not.
So,
Sharon,
I know. I'm
You can't ballpark.
off the top of my head. I'm at the moment right now.
You play softball in high school. Just ballpark it.
like, 5.
Was it 19?
Yeah, I was thinking 20.
Can't
19.
hold her responsible.
No,
I know, like,
we have an approximation.
I think it's around 19 million for
Oh,
the
19 million. That's way more than I thought we had.
And so then, do we?
That's part of our whole budget, and we count contingency as part of our budget. If we were to spend all of contingency, that's what we consider when we think about our expenditure limit. We calculate as if we spent all of contingency as well. So we are trying,
So it's not a fund that we can rely on for rainy days or for.
that's what primarily it's for, say if the property taxes don't come in as projected and we need to,
So it's not
No,
really
do
to
it.
escape these.
no, or not a refund, but pay.
We need to supplement the budget.
Supplement the budget in some way.
So do
So
we keep
when
a
we
number?
tap into
And I
it,
guess
we
this
do
is
it.
what you're talking about.
But if we did overrun, then we would have to do a,
Right.
yeah.
So contingency and expenditure, two separate things as well, so.
Okay, so like when I'm thinking contingent fund, I'm thinking a pool of money that's, we're able to get into something like this. We need.
It's not appropriated
It's
for
not
specific
appropriated.
things.
Okay,
It
so
is
we
still
will
in the
pull
budget.
from it.
Right.
Pull from it For things that we need.
Correct.
Like a fire
For
alarm.
the lawyer,
Right.
fire alarm. So then do we have an amount you can tell us, well, this is how much we now have spent out of this contingency fund, 500,000 with all these little things that seem very.
We
little,
can,
but
we have that information for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know that. Just so I-
Sorry, Darrell. We
Well,
didn't-
that's okay. I
you're-
understand.
You're throwing
Oh,
big
yes.
chunks of
No,
money around.
yes, we are.
And I'd like to,
Oh, yes.
if you come in here and say the HVAC unit blew out in the courthouse and I need 600K for an HVAC, and then we find out that we're going to blow the expenditure limit because we're putting an HVAC in.
Because we just voted on it.
Then you
And
gotta
it
ask
comes on
somebody for
HVAC.
permission. There's always a.
Oh, no, I know that. Then we got to run the legislature.
For increasing the HVAC out of contingency fund, and there was something else that we did for, the busy
Yeah, the annex.
courthouse.
Yep.
And the annex. And so,
Good.
yes, after.
Right, right.
Okay.
But anyways, thanks, Darrell.
All right, you bet.
We'll get your parking lot.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All righty. All righty.
And we can save the discussion of legislative matters until
Yeah.
until Tuesday.
There's a couple, and then Friday we got the PSA thing where we can update the list on hostile bills. So at least our
Yeah, we'll have.
colleagues here can know about if there's something hostile with counties.
And then the rest of the week, we have a work session on our Board of Supervisors special executive session on the litigation update with County Attorney's Office.
Yes.
and Arizona County's insurance pools to give us a litigation update. That'll be an executive session. We have a work session on the solar. This is a joint work session with planning and zoning as well on solar and data center zoning regulations.
I'm going to moderate that because we're talking between 9 people.
So
They can't ask
Kathleen
questions.
or Christine has presentations on both. We'll spend an hour, we estimate an hour on the solar and an hour on data.
This is our work session
Well, it's with P&Z.
with P&Z, so we'll run it. And then they go to their meeting right after that.
But will they have the opportunity to ask questions?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. But we'll regulate it though,
Okay.
so it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a
I
problem.
think my
So
kids have
I did
lots of
see-
questions
I did see on Facebook last night, word is out on that.
on the website.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
So we may expect some additional folks at that meeting
To listen? Sure.
to listen.
Yes.
So here's what they're doing. They are listening to us and they are doing requests to speak for the planning and zoning thing so that they can speak about it at the planning and zoning. I don't know.
That goes through Christine.
Yeah. So that doesn't go through you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So they're going to, after we're done, they'll be taking notes. And then they're going to do their 3 minutes to the P&Z and unleash on them. So,
I have to, no, it's okay to go to P&Z meeting. That's not really like, ooh.
Mr. Crowder,
Mr. Chair, I have extensive issues that we should explore, and I think.
for future,
Yes, and I'm up to 8 of them.
all right, we
I would
can,
like to,
we can talk about
all the meetings for the week.
future agenda items.
Here we go.
Future agenda.
This long time, I will provide you all this in writing.
That'd be great.
We should explore public records requests.
Yes, I've been wanting to do
That
this.
should be an issue that we delve into.
Yeah.
We should explore what is the status of the issue, can the sheriff sue journalists? Or can the sheriff sue anybody? We should explore the sheriff's.
Hey,
No, let me finish, then you can.
Okay.
We'll come back.
But is this the same item?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay. It
Okay.
could be multiple.
We should explore, I got like up to 8.
No, I'm just trying to say what, agenda item 1, you recommend agenda item 2. Yeah, so is this agenda item 1?
Let me just finish. Okay? We need to explore the Sheriff's Department financial review, particularly so-called border-related grants. That's number 4. We need to explore parliamentary rules we are going to operate under, and that could, include whatever that you were talking about with Mr.
Personal
Kendall.
privilege or whatever.
Okay. We should explore rewriting the past DOJ letter, and I have
That we never got an answer.
That's right, and so I've got a letter or actually a memo from Tulsi Gabbard, which I will quickly hand out.
Yeah.
We should explore joint suits with other counties with reference to 16442B and the failure of the past Secretary of State and the failure of the current Secretary of State to comply with 16442B, which has to do with compliance with HAVA, Help America Vote Act, and certification of voting system test labs.
Okay.
So that concludes that. And if you had any other questions, I would be happy to try to address those if I can. And meanwhile, I'm going to hand out this 4-page memo from Tulsi Gabbard, most specifically having to do with Georgia Fulton County, but it shows that this whole issue of elections, election integrity, and all that kind of stuff is not going away.
Right.
So, what I'm trying to find now is my copy, but it does say that they are indeed the lead agency. And so with regard to
Homeland Security?
with regard to the DOJ, which is part of Homeland Security, okay, this is from Tulsi Gabbard. It is.
I'm sorry, she's DNR.
Yeah. Well,
Or DNI. DNI,
Okay.
yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to find where it clearly says includes intelligence pertaining to foreign intelligence, counterintelligence, threats to election processes, and infrastructure. That's and I had one that I'd already highlighted, which I can't find here because somebody made a mess out of my place at this table, but anyway. So just read it thoroughly, and you'll see that it is the DNI, not the DOJ, that is the lead agency for elections now, because it was turned into infrastructure under Obama, and that is where it still remains. So in my opinion, we should rewrite that
And send it to
and send it to Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay. Okay, we can put that on there.
Okay.
That's not a
And
problem.
a copy of this is probably going to end up on our agenda minutes today, Ms. Lowenheim. Is that okay? She's nodding her head affirmatively. So this letter will be there, and thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That concludes my remarks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Unless you wanted to talk about what I said.
No, I thought you had 8.
Well, I think that was it.
Oh, that was all 8?
I said joint suits with other counties.
Okay,
Reference
so
16-4.
reference that.
Yeah.
You know, there was just a recent case, the Heap versus Maricopa County case, and I talked to Dylan and his paisans earlier. In that ruling, it did say, with regard to the county attorney, the statutory authority they have is they have the ultimate authority on the defense and the strategy of that defense of the county if the county is sued. So if we are sued, the attorney's office gets to decide whether they handle it, they hire outside counsel, they get to pick outside counsel and whatnot. This case that Heap brought changed that dynamic a little bit and says that the row officers, if they want to file a lawsuit, they can pick their own attorneys. And that's what's unique that we need to get educated on. Maybe we can do that in the
litigation.
In the litigation, because that changes the game, because now it says, for example, us, say we want to go file a lawsuit against somebody. We technically, according to that, now it's not, do you know if they're appealing it? Because that was the appellate court decision, not the Supreme Court decision.
I am unaware whether the Maricopa County attorney wants to appeal it yet.
Yeah, so in that case, the Maricopa County attorney sued the county recorder saying you don't get to choose your own lawyer. And the judge says, no, you only get to choose his lawyer when it's a suit against the county. If he wants to file a suit, he can go hire his own attorney.
With whose money?
With his money. But in this case, it was a unique scenario because he got the attorney pro bono, so he didn't spend any money. So the judge ruled on only the narrow piece of this was, does he have a right to get his own lawyer and file lawsuits? And the answer was yes. They didn't talk about where the money comes from to go do that, and does he have authority? But this is a gray area now in reference to your question.
So is this,
does the sheriff have the ability? I would argue under that appellate court decision, the potential is yes. He can. Now then the question is, where does he get the money to do that? If he gets non-tax dollars or he gets a pro bono, theoretically, I think based on that case, if he wants to go sue somebody, he can go sue somebody.
I have further report comments.
Yeah, sure.
With regard to resending this letter to Tulsi Gabbard instead of the Department of Justice, in such a prospective letter, and I am not soliciting a vote, we should say something like that we are going to encourage or otherwise. Well, if they want the county's voting list, all they got to do is send a subpoena to our recorder.
Okay. Well, let's draft it up, and then we'll do a work session on it, and we'll let our esteemed attorney review it and provide us insight on that.
The reason why I mentioned that is because you may be aware of another suit where the Secretary of State is pushing back.
I'm denying the
Well,
vote.
we're not pushing back. We're just saying, here it is. We want to make sure everybody in our county is a U.S. citizen or, otherwise eligible to vote.
All right.
We'll be leading the way.
Right. But we've talked about this before on the first thing you brought up on the public records request stuff. I mean, we really need to ramp that up.
question on
Is your question, how do we handle public records requests? Is that the focus?
So, Joe, you had mentioned to me that we were creating a searchable database that when you do a public records request and that public records request is fulfilled, that there's going to be a system. So where are we at with that?
Correct. So that system's online. Which ones are actually available to the public? Been working with the county attorney's office on actually getting those posted out. What the guideline is to say, okay, yeah, this one will be on the system or not. So right now that system is already online. It's on our website being used. There's last time I checked, there's a handful of them out there now, but we want to propagate that even more.
I saw some email traffic regarding the cost for body cam stuff. Do we handle that, or is that strictly the sheriff? Who does that?
The sheriff's office handles most public records requests related to body camera footage.
So how do they determine how much they charge for body cam footage?
Arizona law prescribes the fee.
How much?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it's $40. There's a flat fee, and then we get to charge hourly, I believe.
But we don't, that doesn't go through us, that goes strictly through him?
Where in statute does it say that the sheriff's office either releases or does not release such and such public records? Nowhere. So the keeper of all records is Ms. Lowenheim. That's what I contend. And if the sheriff can show me otherwise, then we'll look at it.
Yeah,
But just because he has a public information officer, just because it's established past practice that he's the keeper of these records that people are asking for, it does not mean that it's statutorily correct. So if you make note of that.
So, you know, we have esteemed members of the media that reach out and talk to us. They have said that they are seeing an improvement, dramatic improvement in getting information from us. They are not seeing a dramatic improvement in getting information from other entities. The courts and the sheriff, namely, is who they're talking about.
I don't think we, unless we fund the courts.
But what I'm getting at is we have a system that is now seeming to make life easier for people to get information, which is what we need to be about, right? We need to, right? Can we help those other guys, or are they on their own? Do we not help them?
No, we are only responsible for the records for which we are the custodians. So we can do a great job, but every city is responsible for their own records.
That doesn't, you didn't say every police department. You said city.
The city oversees their police department's records.
Okay.
So you just made his point. But we're in a unique situation because the sheriff's an elected official, so.
The county is a completely different legal situation.
What is the law say?
Does it say the sheriff is a custodian of his own?
But this is why we need a work session on public records.
So it sounds to me like this work session needs to be about what the public records law is, what the county's jurisdiction is, who's the record keeper, and what systems do we have in place for response? Something along those lines.
Yeah, and again, I've gotten positive feedback. Things are getting better. Still not 100% happy, but getting way better than they were.
Mm-hmm.
And what we should be about is if people want public information, it should be readily available or able to be given to them as reasonably practical as possible, right? But Joe's saying, you know, we got this system now. Terry Joe, let's say, does a public records request for something. And then 5 minutes later, David Morgan comes in. Well, all he should do is Google or go on the search engine or whatever it is and see if somebody's looked for it before, and the information gets posted. So when we do a public records request, that request is posted publicly to the system so that it becomes a searchable.
And what Joe's saying is not every single one is. We are setting parameters for which ones are maybe the most frequently asked questions, just to not bog down.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah, we were having that conversation with the county attorney's office and personnel changes, as we all know. And so we'll have that conversation.
Yeah, that's,
See
but
where
expanding it, making it easy as possible. I really get skeptical when people make the argument that, oh, we have to, because the other thing was redacting was the other comment, right? Where we over-redact.
Mr. Chairman, we're getting a little off topic here. Now this has been agendized, and maybe we should just
make it, that's something else, a work session. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm really concerned about that. But
Well,
yeah.
I know, but it's just, how do we do our job when we get handcuffed every freaking time? I'm just kidding.
respect. I'm not trying to handcuff you.
I know,
I'm just trying to.
we say edit your agenda.
Just write it down. You know what it did, I had to look it up. Yeah.
Next, we're going to have an open rec for a masseuse to come in and
Rub the shoulders.
yeah, to help with the fatigue and the stress. All right, I got you. All right. So that would be a future agenda item on open records requests, public records requests, the practice of making as much information publicly available, redacting, not redacting, what can we make public, what can we not make public, and that kind of stuff. So I need to understand that because I get phone calls and people want to know why it's taking this so long, why it's taking that so long.
And just timing-wise, we have 2 minutes before our next meeting starts.
All right.
Okay. Port Authority, Or that whole thing. We're having a work session on that.
We can have a work session.
Very soon. We've got the proposals that came through for the economic study. So we
We'll be doing the review of those proposals. Staff is doing the review and the scoring.
and I would like to see.
And we will bring
proposals.
those proposals to the
Okay. And then tourism, getting, county tourism board and all that. We need a work session on them because they're not doing good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. All right, so next meeting will be with our Development Services Director on the discussion of possible direction regarding anti-blight public nuisance ordinance. So we will adjourn the regular work session and give everybody 5 minutes to come back.